Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen. Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen. It's Monday night, January 29th, and today we're doing a special episode of the Four Horsemen. We're covering the Winter Derby top 16 matches. Our fellow Four Horsemen player Parker Bowab, aka Cause, is playing his Seth 74 deck, which is a Lion Bolt Dib deck, and Jon Tschida, I think is how you say it, is playing an unpowered green deck. I am joined tonight by my friends Peter and John. Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And let's see where we are on the match. It looks like they are getting started, so I'm going to switch right over to the stream.
They've both elected to mulligan their opening hands.
Ah, interesting. Okay, and it looks like they closed the chat, so let me fix this.
Yeah. Mulligan classic Parker. I played with Parker's deck, and you have to mulligan a lot.
Yeah, I mean he needs a really good starting hand, or it's real tough. Mm-hmm. All right, I got that centered for us now. Okay, so they're playing in Teleria, and John is Twitch streaming on his stream, and we're just making a video of that, doing the coverage. Hey, John Eckleberry, are you on with us?
Maybe not.
Let me send.
How do I see their match? Is the link somewhere in the other thing?
Yeah, I just sent it to you. Okay, so they both mulliganed. That is interesting.
I mean, not too surprising, though.
Well, yeah, and like I was saying, Parker was here staying with me in Dallas this weekend, and we played probably, 40 to 50 hours of practice matches between these two decks. I have all those cards, and I just built the green unpowered deck that John is playing, and we just battled it out and did all kinds of different sideboarding things. Really just tried to help Parker prepare as much as possible for this match, because he was really I think he has a really good shot at winning if he plays his cards right, pun intended. Okay, so let's see. Where are we at here? So they both mulliganed. Parker drops the City of Brass. John drops a Forest and an Elf. So this was real common in some of our practice matches where,
Parker did miss his land drop.
Uh-oh, that is a big problem. So he had to mulligan, and he didn't get lands on the second one either. What we did see in our practice games was, but he was able to chain the elf.
At least.
So we saw in our practice matches that John's deck really starts to get very difficult to deal with once it gets a Maze of Ith and a Pendlehaven out. And if he ever is able to get a Wailuli Wolf as well, holy shit, it really starts to have synergies and gets very tough. Okay, so Parker's in big trouble here. No, he doesn't look like he has any mocks.
Good. He's got a land, though.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
All right, for him. Okay.
Hey, we didn't get a chance to cover his deck pictures because we kind of started a little late. I think we can do that at the sideboard, but he is running two ATOGs.
Yes, he is. So he could trade that for a Pixies if John feels like it. I feel like John probably could press his advantage. He seems to be starting to flood the board out with creatures.
Yes, and that's exactly what his deck is designed to do. Argothian Pixies gets to be a real problem too, because it just can't be blocked by factories and things like that. So there's so much built into this deck, and there was another guy who was tinkering around with Four Horsemen named Ash, and Ash was also playing a similar but different deck.
So he's offering the trade there, yeah.
Yeah, because he knows that Parker...
he's gonna drop something else, maybe another Pixies. There it is.
Yeah. Well, and Parker
and
has...
a strip mine. Oh, how brutal is that,
oh,
the strip
shit.
mine?
Yeah. Oh, that's rough. Well, Parker also has a lot of artifacts that he can feed to the ATOG later.
So that is John's only strip mine in his deck.
Well, they're playing Swedish, right? So strip is restricted.
Of course, you're right. Yeah, it would be their only one in their deck, but that's still pretty brutal.
Well, and Parker's not playing Maze of Ith and stuff like that, so it's pretty safe for... Oh, he got another ATOG. That's convenient. That 1-2 and 2-1 is a nice trade. So John will probably hold off here until he gets a Walulu Wolf, and once he does... Oh,
I don't think... No, he's swinging in. He's trading.
Wow.
That means I think he's trying to get to something. I would suspect he has an over creature here. He's playing more ramp out. So he hasn't played a land though for this turn. So I feel like that strip mine and the elf that got bolted kind of are keeping him off of probably what is an if-biff of Freet in his hand right now.
Well, he's running
or Spitting Slug.
He's running one if-biff, right? And he's running 2 Spitting Slugs. So he really doesn't need anything more than a couple of lands. Now he's starting to get the synergies of his deck. Once Pendlehaven comes out, it's just like, holy shit, all your guys are 2/3s.
How many cards is Parker at, do we think, right now? Oh, he's playing out another. No, Dragonfly.
There's the Dragonfly. The Dragonfly is an interesting choice. It's actually relevant because later in the game, once you have Pendlehaven and Wailulu Wolf, that Dragonfly can really do some damage.
It becomes a 3/4 first striker or something like that, right?
Yeah. If you pay the double blue, it can be, yeah. Or sorry, the double green.
Yeah. I'm almost surprised this list that he's not running like a Killer Bees, but I guess that's just too spicy.
It doesn't work with the Pendlehaven. Everything that John has, other than the Spitting Slug and that one if-biff, all, the Scavenger folks, the elves of Deep Shadow, the Llanowar elves, they all work, and the Emerald Dragonflies all work with Pendlehaven since they're 1/1s.
Yeah, it's getting to be tough decisions for Parker right now.
Yeah, this is exactly like our practice games. Now,
so
this was
really bad because he can defend and he's getting in his free attacks.
Yes.
And the sprites. Oh, and another sprite.
Double sprites. Wow. Yeah. So Parker's really on his back heels here. And
John has just loaded up with creatures in his hand that he's able to cast.
Oh, he's doing a mana drain there to slow at least one of those. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So he's mana draining the first one, and here comes the second one.
Not getting a ton of mana here, but something. Maybe he'll be able to play something with his library and his other 2 cards.
Well, John's also running Ice Storms. What we found is in our practice matches, if Parker didn't get a Lotus or some Mox and stuff or Soul Ring, and the the green deck gets an Ice Storm, it really gets tough.
Yeah, he's in that situation now. And John's not even using his factory. Like he's going to use it now, maybe to play a card Scavenger Folk.
Yeah, he didn't want to attack with it because he wanted to get that extra damage in and the Folk out. Now, if he does drop a Mox, he can just eat it with the Scavenger Folk.
Yeah, I think, doesn't Parker play an Earthquake in his sideboard, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
I have to remember his.
Yes, he does.
He's gonna want to. He's gonna wish he had more Earthquakes, basically, but he's gonna want them. Yeah, looks like this one's in the bag.
Yeah, this game is over.
Parker's looking for balance. That's what he's looking for.
His only hope is balance right now.
He could absolutely be back in this game right now. But that's if a Demonic Tutor or a balance.
Yeah, he would need a land, a Demonic Tutor, or a balance, and he does not have it.
He's not getting those.
No.
Right yet. No. Oh, he's dropping another one of those. I guess Parker just gave up. He's not even looking for it.
Yeah. He had a Lotus, but nothing to do with it. He had lands in hand. That was interesting.
Who had lands in hand?
Parker did.
Parker?
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't he not playing them?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess he had nothing to play with them.
The deck that Parker played in the Four Horsemen tournament.
So, yes,
Sorry,
it is kind of similar. That's why I think he ran with that.
Yeah.
Hey, John, I'll send you a picture of these two decks real quick so you can have them, and let's talk.
So we should talk about his deck here. I want to talk about Parker's first.
Yeah, hold on. Let me shoot these decks over to John so he can have them. I've made slides for these, so I was hoping that I could do the Twitch stream for this, and John ended up wanting to do it. So these are the two decks. Let me just send this to you, John. I'll shoot these to you over Messenger. All right, and then I'm going to be sharing my screen here for the video. Okay, so let's talk about Parker's deck first. So Parker's deck, he called it Seth 74. He worked on it with Seth, who played in one of the early Four Horsemen tournaments, I think number 1 and 2. It's a Lion Bulb Dib deck with ATOGs. It's basically
There's no dib. It's Angels.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lion Bolt, Sarah Angel with ATOG. And that's some of the mods. Sarah Dib's out, Angels in, ATOGs in. That's some of the tweaks, and the lions are, a staple, for the Lion Bulb Dib, archetype. Okay, so what Parker?
Hope he can get a decent hand here.
Yeah, what Parker's going to sideboard in is he's going to sideboard in the 2 Disintegrates, the extra Sarah Angel, and the Earthquake. That's kind of what we talked about in our practice matches. He'll probably also side in his extra Sarah. So he's going to sideboard in, I think, 4 cards. He may also side in that Brain Geyser. And, what we decided in our match was I came up with this idea. I tried to move the deck to all control. I sided out the ATOGs and the Saren and the Lions and the Suchi. So basically, Suchi out. Well, hold on. Let me just explain. And remember, we played for 4 days, 3.5 days straight, these 2 decks. So I sided out the Suchi, the 4 Lions, and the 2 ATOGs, right? That's 4, 5, 6, 7. And I sided in the Earthquake, the 2 Disintegrates, the Angel, and the Brain Geyser. And what this kind of did is it just took the deck off of the Lions, because they get chumped by all of his 1/1s, and they become the Savannah Lions become kind of useless. Suchi gets destroyed by Scavenger Folk so easily, it's almost not worth including. And so we kind of changed it into his deck, into the deck without books and with the bolts and chains is what we ended up doing. Now we tried different things, but that was one version that got me some wins against the green deck.
Okay, this is what I don't think that's what I would do personly.
It wasn't what I did. It wasn't what I did for many, many, many matches. But after getting frustrated that Parker's deck was losing, we tried that and it started winning, which is weird. So, all right, they're shuffling up here and doing their piles. Just real quickly, the green deck, John's deck, basically he's gonna side in his crumbles and probably his copper tablets, and he's gonna side out probably his what did we side out? I think I sided out the if biff and the giant growths. All right, these guys are getting back to it, so I'm gonna switch back over. What would you side if you were the green deck, Peter?
He has so few important artifacts beside the Moxes. I don't think I'd take any more of those in personally. I think the copper tablets is a decent call because you can probably count that Parker's going to take out his disenchants.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, that's what it was. The disenchants is what we sided out.
Parker's
no. I didn't decide out the disenchants because
he should.
Well, because of the factories, they're relevant still because of the factories.
You can still, yeah. Doesn't he have 4 lightning bolts?
Yes, but there's so many creatures. There's so many creatures in the green deck. I played a few games where I did sideboard playing, Parker's deck. He was playing the green, where we did sideboard out the
I think the
Disengage.
mana drain and the counter spells are definitely out for me in Parker's deck, just because John doesn't have a ton of big spells to drain.
Well, he needs to be able to counter things like Ice Storm, and also he needs to be able to counter that Hurricane, as well as maybe the If Biff. There are some key cards that are killer, including that Hurricane and those Ice Storms. John, are you still with us there? He may be on kid duty.
I am. My background's just really noisy.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So Parker was able to bolt that first turn Elves of Deep Shadow, which is really important to keep John off not only the attacker, but that extra mana, and he drops a factory and a second turn Pixie. Now, Parker does have a Mox, which is going to help him accelerate a little bit here. He did not have that first game, but he was holding some lands in his hands. I think what he was doing in that game, Peter, is he was trying to get to...
Barry's mind twisting. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah, mind twist for
That's the type
3.
of stuff he needs to do a little more.
Yeah. I think Parker was holding on to those lands and those extra cards so he could get to 7 cards so he could get library online.
He's taken 3 lands out of John's hand. How interesting is that?
That won't hurt John at all. I mean, that strip mine is harmful, but I played this deck so much. This deck can purr like a kitten on 2 lands, until you get a spitting slug or something. It has no trouble operating with 2 lands. It's pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so he comes in for 2, putting Parker at
4/4.
16, yeah? Okay, so Parker has a strip mine here. Now, it might be worth stripping that factory.
I think you just strip the forest, to be honest. Maybe. Depends. It's a tough one.
Yeah, you're right.
He hit the green. He decided to as well, because that keeps John from... He just stripped out... He just mind twisted so many lands out of John's hand.
Yeah.
And the factory can't attack without that forest, and he's got a blocker for that factory.
You're right. And he's got bolts as well, so...
Yeah.
And he's got disenchants too, so he
just played a Chaos Orb, which means I feel like Parker's just clued. He's going to go land destruction this game. He's going to absolutely... Next land that John drops, he's going to flip the orb on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's activating it right away. I would probably have waited.
He can hit the Pixie now.
I guess.
Yeah.
That means he's signaling he doesn't have a bolt in hand. That's
right.
What he's signaling.
Any ancestrals? Oof. Wow, that's so cool.
Okay.
This is a real turnaround for Parker here. Yeah. In our test games, what we found is if Parker ran into a couple of power, he would pull ahead. If he didn't happen to get power in the first several turns, he would be dead. John
did not drop a land.
Yeah.
So he got all the lands out of John's hand there, and then that's quite something.
What a turnaround. Parker's got to be feeling so much better right now.
He's got to start hitting, though. He's got to come in.
Well, now he's got 2 factories.
He's going to do 3 damage, probably.
Yeah, he can come in for 3 this turn.
John at 15.
Yep. So now he takes the lead. That's nice.
He's passing 4 cards. Has John got a land? He does. He's right away. He's tapping it. He's got another Pixie.
Another Pixie. Wow, and that's such great defense against those factories.
That's the problem with taking out the lions. He doesn't have another small creature. Like, I would still play the lions because the lions can be traded for other creatures a lot of the time.
That's a fair point. But hopefully he can either chain lightning or something to deal with that Pixie.
Yeah. Now he's in a bit of a pickle because look, he's got these great attackers lined up to do some damage, but he can't do any of it. There we go.
Oh, Sonic Blasting the Pixie. What a great answer. Yeah, the Psy Blast. Wow. So he's got to take 2 for that.
4.
And now he can come in for 5. 2 2s, or 1 2 2 and
just
3
4.
3.
Just 4.
Oh, that's right, because he needs 1 more mana.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want on one hand, I kind of want to root for John because he's playing the everyman's deck, but on the other hand, Parker's a friend and he stayed with me
I
this
just hope it goes to
weekend.
game 3. That's all I
Yeah,
want. I want it to go to. I want a three game match.
we played so many games, and I'm probably nowhere near as good, not even in remotely the same league as John, but we did play a shit ton of games with these decks, and Parker did win. Probably I would say 65% of the time is about what it came out to, maybe 60-40. Okay, so John draws and plays a Elves of Deep Shadow, and now Parker can come in with all 3 factories.
Yeah, I wonder, are you behind on the Twitch stream? Because that happened a while ago.
Yeah.
He's down to 5. John is down to 5, which is super against Parker. He's probably got a little bit of burn he can draw into.
Yeah.
John just got to play defense now. Oh,
Ice
he's
Storm.
tapping the factory to play Ice Storm on one of those factories.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Ice Storm is such a great include. There's
He's
so
gonna,
many lands
chump
you want to take out. And I want. Oh, there's the bolt.
And the turn he lightning bolts him.
And then he can attack the next turn.
That's the game because he can't block them both. Going to game 3.
All right, so let's go back to these decks. Peter, let's take a look again at John's unpowered green deck.
So my sideboard would be different than yours in this case. My sideboard personally is I would take out at least 2 of the disenchants and probably the 2 counter spells. That gives me 4 spots. And I would add Earthquake, Sarah Angel, 1 City in a Bottle.
Why do you want City in a Bottle?
Well, he's playing with Wolves. He's playing with If Biff. He's playing. What else is he playing?
He's got 4 Waluigi Wilson, 1 If Biff. That's it.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably not worth it. No,
yeah.
He probably doesn't have to do that. So he's still got 4 spots. Then I would do the Earthquake. I do both the Disintegrates as removal.
Yeah.
The 1, 2, and the Sarah.
Yeah.
So those would be my ends. I don't know if I would. And like I'm saying, I'm cutting 2 Disenchant and 2 control magic. 2 control magic would be interesting in this, but 2 counterspell to do that. Keep the mana drain for later.
Yeah.
And that's debatable. Like I could see the option to maybe keep 1 more counter spell, but I just feel that John has not removed his Ice Storms, obviously, right? Because they're very good. So anytime he wants to cast something, he's probably going to try to just take Parker off double blue.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I feel like the double blue is not going to succeed, and that's also probably why I wouldn't include Brainstorm. Or Brain Geyser, sorry.
Brain Geyser, right.
I would not include Brain Geyser. He's got a couple of draw 7s, and for Parker, draw 7s are much better. They're what's the word I'm looking for? They're not equal for both of them because of Parker drawing into power and moxes he can play right away and stuff like that, and his burn. It's better for Parker, those draw 7s.
Yeah. For me,
usually.
For Parker's deck, it looks like they're getting started here. For Parker's deck, I would remove the Suchi. I would take out. I would take out the Suchi.
You could take out Suchi. Suchi could leave also and put in the Brain. I like the Brain Geyser only because it's also only Parker has access to it, so it's a way for him to get cards in his hand later in the game.
If I'm putting the Earthquake in, I'm taking the Savannah Lions out. So for me, the 4 Savannah Lions are out, the Suchi's out, Earthquake is in, the 2 Disintegrates, and the Sarah and the Brain Geyser. That's what I would do.
I played a white weenie deck and in 7-point, and I played Earthquake despite that I was playing white weenie because it's a finisher, and when you decide to use it, it's always going to be in your favor. I feel like you can keep the Savannah Lions because I had them, and I had a lot of 1/1 ground creatures in that deck. Of course, we were trying to make do with points in that case, but I feel like Earthquake is just always really good, and Savannah Lions is actually still really good. It's a great turn 1 play because it answers things like Elves. It's just a trade. Instead of him having to use his burn to remove these creatures, he can just block these creatures and have his burn.
Fair point. John took a mulligan.
That's why I would keep him.
Yeah, fair point. John took a mulligan. And first turn Elf.
Did?
Yeah.
Did Parker take a mulligan?
I did not see Parker put one on the bottom, but I was looking at the decks, so I may have missed it. But no, John put one on the bottom, and since he lost, goes first and drops that first turn Elf. He's got an Elf every turn. There's only 6 Elves in the deck, so He's doing.
Is there only 6?
Yeah, there's 2. There's 2 Elves of Deep Shadow and 4 Land of Wars. So he's doing really well drawing. You know, basically
his best turn
elves,
one creature.
Elves every first turn. It's pretty solid.
Okay, here we're starting off. Parker's got some power. Time Twister. No, I mean time. Let's see up to. Do more than that. Wow, he had no better bolt in his hand. That's love the side blast though.
Yeah, really strong.
The big bolt.
The big bolt, and it's worth it because it takes the attacker away, it takes his mana away.
Ooh, crumbling.
So this is where Parker and I ran into this. If Jon gets a couple crumbles and some scavenger folk and an ice storm, Parker goes down to just a couple lands real quick with no moxes.
Oh, he did manage to play a volcanic though for red and double blue. No, see, I told you to keep the Savannah Lions. There you go, buddy. That's what you want right now. Exactly. It can trade with the factories. You see how it's such a good card for this situation.
As long as he doesn't get the Wailuli Wolves and the Pendlehaven, it works. But
yeah, but you got to bolt those Waiulis. You have to pick your battles. If you're going to play control, if that's your game, you can't blast everything. You have to blast what your problems are.
Yeah, it's good.
Ice Storm.
Good point. And like I said, we experimented. Peter.
Oh, Mana Drain, I told you, double blue, man. I saw the double blue. He played that. He left him open. Like he was saying, I'm absolutely going to stop whatever he played.
And that was
and
the
he's
Ice Storm.
Getting 3 mana. He could absolutely right now accelerate into a Sarah Angel, which would almost certainly be the game.
Yeah, Soul Ring can do it.
In a lot of ways, unless Jon's holding on to like a maze or something in there.
Yeah, Soul Ring can do it. Lotus can do it.
Look at that. He's played another land. He's doing all right there, our boy. Jon's only got 2 cards left, though. I feel bad. I feel a little tough for him because he doesn't have any way to get more cards into his hand right now.
He was on the start, and he also mulliganed, so he's down 2 cards.
Look at this. I think Parker's tapping. I think Parker's gonna. What's he got?
Oh,
Ooh,
there's
he's just
a
using it for a
Disintegrate.
burn spell. That's all right.
Wow, just straight up just 3 damage to the face.
He's gonna hit him with the lions.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings.
And Parker's only got 1.
That brings Jon down to 14.
He's at 12 actually.
Oh, he's at 12. Oh, sorry, 12
with the lions. Yeah, well, 14 before the lions.
Yeah.
So Pixies come out. See, that's another reason. You just gotta love the lions. The Pixies don't answer the lions.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point, Peter.
So he's gonna trade now. Maybe his Pixies for the lions. I suspect he would if Parker attacked. I would. You have 2 cards. Parker's got 2 cards after his draw. See, if Parker's passing because he doesn't want to do that trade, I think that's kind of signaling that he doesn't have another creature in there.
Right.
And Jon probably realizing that right away, he's going to go ahead and he's going to play something else out there. I didn't think the Dervish would come in either.
Well, yeah, the Dervish is interesting because Parker's not running Abyss, so I guess he just wanted more creatures.
He did. So Parker's trading, I think that's signaling he must have some other burn spell in there.
Well, he can always draw into a factory at some point. Yeah, there's.
Oh, he's side blasting him. Look at that. He's doing it directly on the life total. He has. He's got a wheel in there. When you start playing these things out, he's got to draw 7. I think.
Yeah, probably.
You get that. You get that hint, that smell in the air. Or he's got nothing else. He's hoping to draw better stuff. I think he's got to be doing something. So and the Dervish getting a pumped.
Yeah, the Dervish
put another creature on another Dervish. Oh my gosh!
Ooh, that could turn things around quick here.
He's got to have an earthquake. Got to have something in there.
Another side blast.
Him again. He's taking him down to 4.
Wow!
Look at this. He's got 1 card left in hand.
And Parker's at 12.
This is But he's going to be taking some damage. It's going to take 2. He's going to take 4 next turn. It's going to be 8 if he doesn't chain him. Wow, to 1. What's the finisher? Twister.
Oh,
See, there it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Wow.
There it is. There's another
Wow.
dervish in his hand. Isn't that something? John shows the dervish. He goes, I got 3 of my dervishes in my hand right now.
Yeah. Now here's where Parker really pulls ahead, because he'll get some direct damage. He's got all those bolts chained, side blasts. He can get
but
ancestral.
Parker can take 6 damage next. Like, look at it this way, okay?
Yeah.
He's got 2 off that dervish, 2 off the other dervish because the Pendlehaven.
Yeah.
And 2 from the factory. So he can take 6 damage next turn. Let's just say John drew 2 giant growths. That would be game.
Mm-hmm.
Although Parker hasn't played the land like he's mentioning. He could draw some more power.
Yeah.
Was he just to make it more on you? He's like, John, you have to pick one. Because one of those stacks is garbage. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
one of them is the nuts.
One of them's got a land pocket, one of them's garbage, and one of them's gold.
Yeah, one of them's absolutely gold. So let's see what happens here. I think this is Parker's game right now to lose because, he has other power he can draw into here. The bolts. Oh, the Lotus and the bolts. He got it. Look at that. He got the Mox. And he got the Time Walk. Look at that. He got the Time Walk, the Lotus, the bolts. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Obliterated. Wow. What a. I mean, like I said, the draw 7s favor Parker so much. That's why I don't really favor putting Brain Geyser in the deck because, it's almost redundant.
Yeah.
Parker needs to have too many. Parker needs to tap out to play Brain Geyser. It also means and it's not John's style. John's not going to leave him enough cards to make a good Brain Geyser happen.
Yeah.
Enough land, I mean.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
The People's deck is John's green deck. I mean, it has no power except for the Lotus, which was a really curious ad.
Yeah.
And, you want to root for the underdog, of course, but Parker being a friend and fellow Four Horsemen player, I don't know if you know this, Peter, but you were one of the first few people I played online, but Parker was the first person I played after not playing Magic for 18 years when, COVID hit. I mean, and coincidentally, I think I was Parker's first person. We just happened to be jumping back into Magic at the exact same time for the exact same reason, and we played each other first and have been friends ever since. And, it's really interesting because, Michael Scheffenacker and I have become friends, and he's come to stay with us and went to SCG-Con, a year and a half ago, and now Parker stayed the weekend, and we went out to dinner and bought drinks and took him to the best burger place here, and it's cool that, we've made friends. You and I have become friends, me and John, me and Nick. Nick happens to be here in Dallas. It is kind of... I think it is the true value of this hobby is not the value of the cards. It's the people.
No, it's the people.
It's the people you meet. Yeah. And, it's kind of like anything in life. There's lots of landmines to dodge. And there's cool people and there's not so cool people. And I really feel fortunate that you guys are in the circle of friends. It's really nice.
Nice to chill with you here, buddy. He's talking about his choices. He took out the 3 disenchants and the Suchi. He brought in what I would have brought in too.
So he took out the disenchants and the Suchi, yeah.
Yeah, he took out all the disenchants and the Suchi. That's what I would have taken out personally.
Yeah.
I said I'd also take out maybe a counter spell because it's just not that likely that you're going to be countering much.
Yeah.
Because John's deck is just basically beats you up with creatures, But there's times it did actually serve Parker really well because it was that Ice Storm I think that he countered. Oh, he's...
So I guess they're just kind of chit-chatting about the match.
Yep.
let's go back to these deck pictures, and we can probably wrap up this video. So, Parker's Seth74 emerges victorious here in the Winter Derby match. We knew this was going to be a really tough match for Parker. I guarantee you right now he feels very fortunate to have won this. Between the Wailuli Wolves, the Pendlehavens, the Scavenger Folk, and the Argothian Pixies, we didn't get to see that action, but on Jon's deck, the combo between, you have a 1/1 guy like the Sprites or whoever, you pump them with the Pendlehaven, they become a 2/3. You pump them with the Wolf, they're a 3/4. Even the Wailuli Wolf pumping the Giant Slug. We had some matches where you get the Giant Slug out mid or late game, and you can pump that bad boy, and he becomes a 3/5, for 3 mana. I mean, he's really strong if you tap the Wailuli Wolf. And in some games, we would get a couple Wailuli Wolves on the board, and it was craziness. Plus the Mazes of Ith, the 3 Mazes of Ith in Jon's deck, it really complicates combat because you can pull people out of you can pull them out of combat and they take no damage, and it totally messes with who blocks what and what gets pumped. And there's just so much smartness and just kind of really cool mechanics built into this unpowered green deck. You gotta commend Jon for getting all the way to top 16 with this. What do you think overall, Peter, of the unpowered green deck? Peter, you still with me?
I'm here, but I'm just listening. He's explaining why he doesn't run Chaos Orb.
Mm.
It's all Swedish, legal. And I got my other deck, which has got CE stuff in it and mixtures of power and all of that stuff. And I sat down and I didn't want to play the deck, and I didn't want to play 12 bolts or Lion Dib bolt or anything like that.
Hey.
And I decided that I wanted to play with the Swedish feeling to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I left my Emerald and my Chaos Orb in the other deck because they were both CE.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's reason number one. Second reason is because of this stupid camera up here. Whenever I try and flip a Chaos Orb in playing at home, I miss like 4 or 5 times as often as I do when I'm in the show. So I decided, I'm not going to play with it. It's like almost, it's oftentimes just a wasted card.
No, that's
interesting. It's more of a liability.
Yeah, and then I looked at the format and I'm like, the only thing that I'm really afraid of.
That's interesting there, Peter. He's saying with his camera he can't flip the orb as reliably.
Or an Abyss, I guess.
Yeah, even the Abyss, like post sideboard, I'm bringing in.
Yeah, you bring in the Dervish, yeah.
So I don't really, and I've got 4 factories, so I'm not as concerned.
Yeah, he's saying that he's not having a lot of success with the Chaos Orb at home.
Well, with his camera, he was saying that his camera, it blocks his flipping angle because it's in the way, because it's directly overhead, and he misses more than half the time, so he decided not to include it. That's really interesting.
Yeah, which you did.
Yeah. And so that's
bummer.
The only artifact in here is
the
I
Lotus.
feel like I'd have to change my camera.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have the Chaos Orb, right?
I like flipping. I really like flipping stuff, so yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm thinking about making a deck just to make people flip orbs.
Yeah, well,
build the Forkazad deck.
Yeah, the Forkazad.
So you play Shahrazad, but you fork it.
Oh god!
You make like this insane number of like sub games.
Oh god, that'd be so.
You'll never finish the match in time.
That sounds terrible, terribly miserable.
And even in the sub games, you're making more sub games. So you're playing with 4 forks and 4 Shahrazads. And you're just gonna try to make everybody run out of time and flip and do orb flips at the end to see who wins.
On stream, I was like practicing my orb flips because I was like, I haven't flipped an orb in like a week. Need to practice. But
Parker's probably pretty happy.
Shit, good games.
Yeah, you can hear it in his voice.
Actually, low-key was like rooting for you to win because like your deck is the most unique out of the top 16, and you've been on a fucking heater, and it's awesome.
I mean, that was three game match there.
Parker's so loud. I can't turn Parker down. Let John.
Yeah, I think John's got his mic volume turned way down.
That mana drain, like without that mana drain, I think it's like that. I think that was the key.
Yeah, mana drain there in that game was a big card.
So and then the Mind Twist game too.
It's true.
Followed up by Petrol.
Yeah, Mind Twist, Strip Mine, Chaos Orb, removing all my old land sources.
Well, I hit the Chaos Orb hit your
Yeah, I was debating on that.
But I figured.
That's right. You left me with a fact.
Yeah, it's like
That's
not gonna be able to activate or cast anything green. And I think if I didn't hit Mind Twist to forests, I would have been a lot more likely to hit the factory. But I figured you're running 12 forests, like high percentage that you aren't going to get one for a little bit. Oh right, yeah, the penalty.
Notice John's playmat there, the Tabernacle playmat. How about that? Very very appropriate for yours and Damien's deck in the Four Horsemen this month.
Yeah, we're just Tabby brothers here. I'm gonna play a Land's Edge, a Living Plane on Living Plane game. Like, when have we ever said that's gonna happen?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's gonna be wild.
Yeah, I mean, folks are missing out if they're not checking out Four Horsemen, because I mean, there is some really really cool stuff happening. I'm so pleased with 33 people in tournament number 11. So many great decks, just really innovative deck brewing, and it's going to be an exciting quarterfinals. And in fact, we can talk about that real quick if you want to, Peter.
What's that?
As we wrap up here, we can close out on these guys, and we can talk about the tournament 11 quarterfinals.
Well, yeah. That's kind of more like a separate thing. I don't know. We don't have enough room to jump into. Do you think you have enough room to jump into that now? So how long have we been recording for?
Well, let's see. We're at 42 minutes. Yeah, we can wrap this video and do that.
We got -1 viewer right now.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it separate. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Thanks for joining me, Peter. Great commentary and interesting insight on these decks. Winter Derby top 16. Parker will be moving forward, and I actually looked it up in Teleria. He's gonna be playing. Who's he gonna be playing next? 1 second. He's gonna be playing. Ooh, Teleria's really dragging ass right now because everybody's in it watching this game. Oh man. Okay. Winter Derby. There it is. Okay, so Parker is going to be playing Rob Hackney. Rob Hackney won 2-1 versus Aaron Patton. So that is going to be the next match. And Rob Hackney's deck is also extremely interesting and cool. It's like a blue control skies type deck.
Did you say Rob Hackney?
Yeah, Rob Hackney. He won versus
in the Winter Derby.
Yeah, in the Winter Derby, correct.
Yeah. He's got an interesting build for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks for joining us, everyone. Thank you for joining me, Peter and John, and we'll sign off. Everybody have a great night.
You too, Chad.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.